Alright guys, Rxllout here, welcome back to another quick easy video tutorial sort of thing. Now today we're going to be going over drum buses, compression, saturation, limiting, matching EQs, so much stuff that is going to take your drum game from like here to through the roof, professional levels. So let's get into it. By default, all of your tracks in the mixer track are going to get sent to the master. Now the problem with that is sometimes you don't want to put all the processing on the master and have it, affect every single element in your track. So the drums and the melodies might be mixed and mastered differently. So this kind of solves that problem. So we're going to make a drum bus now. We're just going to rename a track, call it drum bus. I'm going to make it red just so it's kind of obvious and easily seen. Next, we are going to put all of our drums into the drum bus here. It's just like this. Route to this track only. We're going to do the same with the kick. Now we're going to leave the bass out. The reason we're going to leave the bass out is because the bass is a melodic element. We don't really mix that the same way as we would, or master it the same way we would, drums, kicks. It's more melodic, so we'll leave that out. However, we will sidechain the kick to the bass by clicking on the kick, right clicking here, sidechain to this track only, opening a limiter, putting the sidechain to 1, threshold down, ratio up to about 1.8, and leaving it there. So what kind of things would we put on a drum bus? So first I'll show you. We place only things playing now is the bass. That's because the drum bus isn't active. So it'd be the same thing if we turned off the master, bass doesn't play. So because all this is routed to the drum bus, only plays when the drum bus is active. So first thing we're going to put on this is something that kind of helps out the whole overall feel of the mix. It brings lower frequencies up to match some of the higher frequencies and kind of dips down the higher frequencies when it reaches the threshold. So if we add the drums preset on here, we'll hear, if we turn the threshold all the way down, this is basically the lower the threshold is, the quicker the signal gets, or where it gets basically compressed at. So if we've got it low, it's going to be very low compression, so it's going to hit instantly pretty much, and it's going to get everything in the mix. But we're not wanting that. We're wanting it maybe to be compressed around about 18. Now if we pull up here, basically no compression is happening. Pull back down. We'll start to hear what the compressor is doing. So that seems fine to me. We can turn the gain down a bit. The gain kind of is there to make up for a lot of the volume lost when compressing. So obviously if it's down here, we're going to push the gain up quite a lot. But because it's only here, I think 8's usually fine. Now the attack will essentially determine how quickly the signal gets compressed. So if you've got up here, it's not getting compressed as quick, but if you turn it down, that compression is happening instantly. It's getting there quick and sorting out the signal instantly. Whereas with the attack up, it delays it a bit. The release is just the decay of the compression, so how long it lasts. Usually just a short decay is fine for this, and we'll put on vintage compression. Just give it kind of a nice sound. Now, this is before any compression, and now after. Before, after. So not only does it put the gain up, that's not really what we're aiming for, it's just that kind of compressed sound. So once again, we'll bring the threshold way up so we exaggerate this a lot. Or down, sorry. Let's kind of bring everything to the same level, but I think here's about fine. We'll bring the ratio down to about 3 or 5, well, let's do 3 to 1, so it's quite rapid. And to me that sounds good, so just play with your compressor in your own way and see what works. Now, the next thing I'm going to add is saturation. Now what saturation does, it kind of glues and kind of gets everything together in the mix, gives it this sort of distortion that kind of evens everything out. Now we'll go for the clean tube option here, and if I turn it all the way up here, you can see it adds that kind of nice saturated characteristic to it. But obviously 100% is way too much, so we are going to bring the band drive down. And again, just go off ear here, so I think around here is fine. Now this tone section will kind of boost it in certain areas. So we've got low, mid, and high frequencies here. So if we wanted the bass section just to get boosted like crazy. Obviously we're not looking for that, it sounds a bit comedic and like some sort of meme compilation, but bring down some of the tones here and maybe boost it slightly in the high section. So I like it there, I think that sounds good, I think that's a nice setting for it. The next thing I'm going to do is add in some ozone. Now what we're going to do with this is again add some more kind of saturation tape, vintage tape. Again, does a very similar thing to the saturation. I'm going to use the tape saturation here and just bring it down slightly with the input drive. Now if the input drive is way up, you'll see what it does. Bring the output down slightly just so we can hear all the frequencies a lot better. We're going to add in the maximizer now, going true peak, bringing the ceiling down to -0.1. We'll use this, which is just a better kind of more modern limiter maximizer. And we're bringing this down as well, how quickly it gets processed, and we will adjust the threshold to where we think is where we want it basically. So again, it's just being limited very slightly here. We can clip it as well. Now what this clipping will do, essentially, whereas a compressor brings down the signal, much like a limiter, and brings everything up, the clip will basically cut off those peaks. So we can see if it's being limited here. Instead of bringing these down and limiting how far it can go, it will slice them off like a cut basically, and then bring everything else up as well with it. So whereas a compressor kind of does that but evens everything out, this soft clip, which we're not going to use, would cut off the top, same as the limiter kind of brings it down. So yeah, the limiter, just to kind of recap, limiter will limit how far it can go and then kind of cut off everything above it. It doesn't slice the sounds off, it just kind of stops. It's like a brick wall. And a compressor will kind of bring the higher peaks down and the lower ones up, so it kind of evens it out. The next thing I'm going to do, so this is more advanced. If I was doing like a course or something, I would add this into the course, but because I've been gone so long and I feel like you guys deserve a good tutorial, I'm going to go over this as well. So we're going to add in a reference track here. We're going to bring in Ben Bomber's After Earth. I'm going to select this A part here, which is going to basically be the drums and very minimal sounds. Now we're using this to match our track towards this, so we can see, reference it against a very famous track that's already radio produced, works well, you know, everyone knows about it. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to capture it, hit the reference, and we're going to capture the start bit of it. Okay, that's our reference. We're going to stop. Oh, but we need to stop it as it's capturing. That's my bad there. Do it again. Stop. So we've now created a snapshot of kind of the EQ frequency of this reference track. And we're going to now go back to our track by turning the reference off, hitting capture and playing our track. Stopping it. Now what this has done, as we can see, obviously our track is very, very similar to this Ben Bomber's track, probably with the compression and everything we've added. But we can see here that this track is actually very, very close to like a professionally mastered track already with just these, what we've done on the drum bus. Now if we want it to get a bit more matching to this exact frequency, we can turn up the amount, we can smooth it out a bit. We could copy these on a different EQ, we're not going to do that here, but as we can see here, we're very close to what this is now. If we boost it way up, it's going to be exaggerated way too much, but I'll do it just to show you. Zero smoothing. Horrible. So now if you listen to this in our reference track, they should sound relatively similar. So I kind of hear, we can go to equalizer as well now. And see, I feel like there's more kind of frequencies around this section. If we go our match EQ, we can see there is on ours a bit too much bass. So we can essentially go here, bring this down to a high pass, pull it in a bit, and possibly boost up this region. So we can see here, this is basically around the 60 hertz region, there's a boost, so around here, about 5960. So we can go here, 5960, and we can boost it up, open up slightly. Now with mixing and mastering, never really go over 3 decibels. 2's pushing it, so keep it below like 1 to 3 decibels. Don't go mad with it. That's sounding a bit better now. Also, we will kind of want to do the same with the high end here. A lot of these frequencies, when you're mixing and mastering, you do not want them to kind of go here. So you don't need this this section of your sound. Like, listen. Now we're hearing the bass, but obviously that's because this is just on a drum bus. But that high end, about here, we're not really much information. Same with around here. I suppose it's, I'll show you better with the bass off, but so this is basically where a lot of the punch is really. But this is mostly just air. So that should be fine for the compression. I mean the drums there, so maybe a bit too heavy on this EQ, I think. Bring it down slightly to a very small boost there. And we should maybe bring this into less of a steep curve, more like this. I think I'm going to bring down some of these frequencies in the mid-range around 500 hertz as well. And bring up some here very slightly. Mix a bit of that, and yeah, this is kind of what we've got here. So if we turn off all of our additions, and we add them back in, we can hear a huge difference in the quality, the kind of sound of it, and the evenness of it. So yeah, that should conclude the video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I would like to apologize again for being out for so long, but hopefully a video like this will help you. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I love you guys, and I appreciate all the support over the years, and I hope that it continues. And again, apologies for being so inconsistent with this channel. I will fix that. I will always do my best for you. So take care, much love, and I will see you in the next one. I do. Peace.